Hi everybody, welcome to part 2 of the sculpt demo. This is just a continuation from our first video where we went ahead and blocked in this creature here that we've got on screen. Just blocked in the major shapes. Um, yeah, that's where we're at. So we are going to continue this. I'm going to try to keep these videos at about a half hour. So whatever progress we can get in a half hour is what we're going to do. Um, Usually at this stage, I'll start blocking in major muscle groups. So we're going to start blocking in his thighs and the legs. Start refining the mouth a little bit more because he's kind of got this big muscly thing around his mouth. Define the eye socket a little bit more. Deal with the tail, and that should wrap it up. So I'm going to go ahead and Dynamesh in these legs that we have from the previous tutorial. So I'm just going to go over here, subtools, and I'm going to merge and just merge down. Just hit always OK. And now they're merged. And then all I'm going to do is clear the mask, and you'll see we have this seam now with our leg. And I've got transform on an X, and I'm just going to go and smooth that out. And I'm just going to start looking at this and start figuring out what we're going to do next. And look at the reference here real quick. So I think first off, we'll go ahead and hit this, the arm sack right here. I know I can pull this over and you guys can just see it. This area here. We don't really have anything defined for that yet, so we're going to hit that. Then we'll move on to this big thigh muscle in the knee. Then get in some of the stuff down here. Get the tail. It's got this rib down the back. We'll get that taken care of as well. So let's start on this part right here, around the arm. So I'm just going to drag that over. Just look at it here. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead just for to make things a little less complicated. I'm going to hide this background here. I'm just going to turn the floor off. Another really great reason to have that concept art on a draw layer instead of just in your background. All right, so let's deal with this guy here. It's got this big kind of sack. I think I'm going to switch over to my clay buildup for this. It does a pretty good job of kind of getting muscles and stuff in. So let's just start blocking this in here. And it looks like it kind of goes up past. There's almost like a sack that comes down like this. Just going to kind of outline it here. And then it pulls down this way. That looks about right. I think this needs to be smoothed down a little bit here. Just going to smooth this lower eye socket. I think I went a little bit too much on that. All right, so let's just smooth this out. And a lot of this is just going to be literally clay buildup and smooth brush. And I'm just going to kind of establish where the arm socket is. Just build this area up. And it kind of has a bit of a sack down here at the bottom that sticks out. This probably should be carved back a bit too. There we go. It's looking good. And I'm going to start switching back and forth between a few brushes here. Usually it's just going to be the pinch and the damp standard and the standard. That's looking all right. I guess this is a good time to kind of bring this up. It's a common thing with students that you get really worried kind of in the beginning that something doesn't look too great. It's a common thing, and it's really with experience it comes. You just got to push through it. Um, almost every sculpt that I start, I will I'll get nervous about it and almost procrastinate and be like, oh, can I do this? And you just got to work past it um, and just keep on keeping on. Eventually, you'll figure out that it does take a little bit of time and things will start looking good. And you'll just get into the zone. I think a lot of times students think they should have something great right out of the gate, and a lot of times that is not the case. Um, Sometimes you'll even find yourself like redoing things. It's a common thing that happens. It's always easier the second time. Let's go ahead and cut up through here, start defining this. I'm not worried too much about detail yet. I'm just trying to define where this little sac kind of pulls out. I'm just starting to define a little bit of these areas back, whoa, up in here. It's like a tendon that kind of runs down this way. There we go. That's looking good. Smooth this back down a bit. There we go. It's getting blocked in there. Good. All right, I'm just going to smooth this back a little bit. Just way too pronounced. There we go. All right, that side area is kind of blocked in there. Just taking a look. I'm trying to think. It looks like it might need to be a little bit bigger. Let's turn on this. That pretty much hit it right here. Might need to be a little bit more. Let's just add in some more definition here. That's good. And let's move this area in just a bit. It looks like we're going to start running out of resolution here, so we might have to bump up. Might have to add a little bit more resolution into our mesh. Alrighty. And let's just dig this in back in just a bit more. It's a pretty distinct little shape right in here. I'm trying to get down. Alright, let's leave that area for now. I think it's alright. Starting to get into some smaller stuff, and I don't want to get into it yet because I don't want to get the mesh too high too quick. That's one of the main things we don't want to do, and one of the things I want to stress in this lesson. So let's go ahead and move over to a larger muscle group. Let's start with this upper thigh here. So first off, this needs to be blended a lot. I think I'm just going to have to just carve some of this out. This is a common mistake you see a lot. You don't get these Oops, sorry about that. Looks like I got a pause in the recording. There we go. We're back. Sorry about that. A common mistake is you see people that have these legs that are just way too far out away from the body, and it looks like they're just stuck on. So we're definitely going to have to combat and fix that. And usually a good just taper at the top of the thigh and pushed in a little bit like so fixes it. Just a little move brush and now we're fixed. So let's continue with this clay buildup. And smooth all this out. So we have a major muscle that goes up through here. And it's got another muscle that sticks next to it. Kind of folds in down here. And then merges back in up here. And we have a bit of a buildup that happens around the back. And some skin folds back here. And this goes into what looks like maybe a tendon. So we'll just kind of stick that on the side here. Just have that wrap up and in. And some of this stuff we're just going to have to make up because obviously we don't have like anatomy models for this. Looks like there's a little bit of a muscle that comes along and meets down here. Down around here. And let's re-dynamesh. One cool thing about this dynamesh is literally once I re-dynamesh and smooth this, look how much work that's already done for us, like to get some nice look in the muscles. Great. So this guy definitely needs to be much bigger. There we go. So we've got this. Somehow we ended up with a hump up here. Let's get rid of that. There we go. I'm just kind of guessing right now with this inner muscle here, so in case you wonder what I'm doing. And we don't have much information on this guy for what the bottom looks like. So we're just going to have to make it up. I'm imagining this kind of sack or whatever, his belly just kind of comes down here. And it looks like it also comes down into his throat. Yep, that looks good. Just checking against our reference. Yeah, I think this whole top side needs to be a bit smoother. Or pinched rather, so let's take care of that after our project file saves. And it's probably a good time to just save anyways. There we go. So let's see. Let's look at our reference here. So it does look like there's a pretty distinct muscle that goes along here. So I'm just going to mask this off just to check my work. I think it comes like this, and then this blends up and down like that. And it looks about right. And then so we'll just build up a little bit here along the side to get that look. And then I'm going to damp standard around the top of this. There we go. Nice. Looks good. So let's look at the side here. It looks like we might have a little bit. Yeah, this is definitely needs to be smoothed out. And he's kind of got these. The reference is a little bit different in some of these areas, but we'll just add in some of this. There's a definite kind of protrusion that comes out. Up here. Yeah, that looks good. Maybe a little bit more forward. Just a little bit of a muscle right here. That's looking good. So I just want to bring this back. I keep losing this muscle. I just want to keep bringing it back in. There we go. All right, moving right along. Let's see where we're at here on time. Yeah, we're at about 20. I'll go for another 10 minutes or so. I'm gonna hit this mouth here. Let's go ahead and grab this move tool, bring his nose back out. Yeah, that mouth it's going to be a challenge. Let's take a look here. I'm just fixing some of these areas that got a little bit out of proportion. So let's see here for the mouth. Let's go ahead and do some clay buildup. Just define this upper area first as much as we can. I'm going to use a different brush here. It's called Trim Dynamic, just to flatten this out. Now, obviously, we're going to go ahead and we're going to go back over this again, but I want to start getting that flat jaw in there. All right, so let's see. I'm going to go ahead and carve out the bottom of the mouth here. And the top. Yeah, the bottom of this mouth is really wrong, so let's fix that. It's the concept art. So I'm gonna go ahead and mask off everything else but this. There we go. That's better. Let's Dynamesh and we'll smooth this back out. I'm just gonna build this up a little bit. It's getting a little thin. Might have to use an inflate brush on this. Yeah. Sometimes when you're using clay buildup with inside of a mouth like this, then it starts kind of taking away with the other side. It can get too thin, so you just have to thicken it up. Yeah, that works. And then I'm going to need a clay buildup. Going to mask this off. And I'm just going to build the rest of this mouth into the inside. There we go. So I'm going to have to carve this back out again. This guy's probably going to have some kind of tongue that we'll put in there, so I'm not going to worry too much about what the bottom of that looks like. All right, I think we're going to stop there. Definitely good, decent progress. We'll just, tomorrow we'll just go ahead and continue. Blocking in some major shapes. We should be able to get all of the big shapes blocked in the next video, in the next half hour. Just saw something I just want to fix real quick before I forget. There we go. It's better. Should be able to get through all of the block in the next video, in the next half hour, and then we'll start going in and start sculpting detail. All right, so I will see you guys in the next lesson. Thanks.